Math 31, welcome to example 4. We're going to write the equation of a linear function given some information. So it says if f of x is a linear function with f of 2 equaling negative 11 and f of 4 equaling negative 25, find an equation for the function in slope-intercept form. Okay, so I'm going to do this a couple of ways, but first of all, I see an ordered pair. I see 2, negative 11, and I see 4, negative 25. All right, so from here, I can get the slope. So we know it, right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's take a look at what we have. We've got, I'll go negative 25 minus a negative 11. And then I've got 4 minus 2 on the denominator. So this is ultimately going to be, all right, negative 25 minus a negative 11 is like saying negative 25 plus 11. So that would be negative 14. And this would be in ratio to 2. So my slope is going to be negative 7. All right, so at this point, there's a couple of ways to find the equation of this function in slope-intercept form. And it varies depending on who your algebra teacher was. So I'm going to show you the way I learned it, and then I'm going to also show you a way I think a number of other folks learned it. So I personally, when I have the slope and a point, I just go to point-slope form. So I want to talk about the point-slope formula. And if you don't remember what this one was, this is y minus y sub 1 equaling m times x minus x sub 1. So this is my go-to formula. I prefer this one. And you don't have to. You might prefer the slope-intercept form, so then that's great. But I'm going to start with point-slope form, and then I'm going to move over to slope-intercept form. And when it comes to point-slope formula, it doesn't matter which point you choose. You can choose either one. You've got to use the slope, right? But you can use either of these points. I'm going to opt to pick 2, negative 11, only because the numbers are smaller. So I'm going to do y minus negative 11 equaling negative 7 times x minus 2. So this is going to be y plus 11 equaling negative 7x plus 14. And then I'm going to add subtract the 11 over, and I will ultimately have negative 7x plus 3. So you see, I started in point-slope form, but I ended in slope-intercept form. And there it is. There's my slope of negative 7 and my y-intercept of 0, 3. So there's my answer, and that's one way to do it. Okay? Now I think some of you probably learned using slope-intercept form. And both of these are totally legit. Now when I say the slope-intercept formula, you're going to tell me y equals mx plus b. Okay? And we happen to know m is 7. So we'll say y equals negative 7x plus b. Now, similar to point-slope form, you can use either of these ordered pairs to help you with this. And I would still opt to use 2, negative 11 because the numbers are smaller. So now I'm going to plug 2 in for x and negative 11 in for y, just like I plugged them in for x sub 1 and y sub 1 respectively over here. But let's try this. I'm going to have negative 11 will equal negative 7 times 2 plus b. All right, so I would have here negative 11 equaling negative 14 plus b. And I think you'll give me, if I solve for this, I'm going to get b is equal to 3. Well, if b is equal to 3, that changes this equation not to negative 7x plus b, but to y equaling negative 7x plus 3. Now, ultimately, though, you got to keep in mind, I started with a function, right? So really what I want to do for my answer is write f of x is equal to negative 7x plus 3. All right? And technically, I would have written f of x here. Actually, since I put it in a little, a little squigglies, let me unsquiggle that and write it up the correct way, just so I'm consistent. All right, so if I was going to really solve this, this would be f of x equals negative 7x plus 3 squiggles. All right, so either way, though, I'm getting the same result, right? My function, it's got a slope of negative 7 and a y-intercept at 0, positive 3. All right, so with that, we're going to move to a more numerical example. Well, actually, this is pretty numerical, but we're going to interpret all sorts of stuff. We're going to interpret the slope and the y-intercept when we get to example 5. All right, I'll see you in a few. Bye.